This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. and you are welcome to the Maastricht edition, festive style. We're here on Facebook Live tonight. I am your co-host, Tracy, and together with Joe, we'll be bringing you our regular segments and, of course, the usual fun and games. Next to that, we'll also be joined by a very special guest. Our wine guru, Robert de Koning, will be joining to give us some suggestions about what we should be drinking this holiday season. Cheers.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are again. Only 1 week to go, actually. 1 week, 10 days, are we? Something like that till Christmas?
8 more sleeps, to be precise.
Oh, my goodness. And I still haven't got my presents sorted. But there you go.
Oh, no.
Well, I have a very good reason for this, I have to tell you, because I was planning on making all of my presents this year, but whose sewing machine packed up at the beginning of the week? Mine.
Oh no, that's
not good. The same day that our fridge freezer died as well.
No, what is going on?
Thank you very much.
In Casamu.
Yes, it's all been delightful this week, but never mind that. The sewing machine's been fixed, the fridge freezer, we're still in negotiation, but the piles of fabric is all cut, it's all ready, so I'm just going to spend a frenzied couple of days getting everything sewn, and it'll be fine.
You'll be fine, you'll be fine. It's a magical time of the year. Maybe the little elves will help you out.
Well, speaking of little elves, maybe I could get your Norm to come over and help me.
No, Norm doesn't leave my side. Norm and I are very, very close, I'll have to tell you. And by the way, Norm is back this week, people.
Yes, he is back this week. And I tell you what, he's got a bit of a fan club, because since appearing on the show last week, we have been getting messages coming through about the lovely Norm.
I know, but I mean, how lovely is he? And look, we're sort of matching this evening. We've kind of merged our look, you know? Kind of white and red. Yes. Very nice. But Norm, I'm not sure he's going to have time, Joe, to be honest. It's a busy time of the year for our Norm. Parties, parties, parties.
Well, he's not as busy as this fella. Okay, right. This is what we call filler, if we want to fill up some time on the show. The only problem with this, it clicks. Yeah, okay, no, that's enough now, really. Oh God, the sleigh bells are out now. Yeah, thanks for that, Santa. So yeah, this is my jazzy Santa, but he seems to have a bit of a crick in his neck. When he starts giving it some of this, he goes clunk, clunk. I mean, I know the feeling, to be honest with you, when I get out of bed in the morning. It's very similar noise.
He's probably been playing that same old tune for so many years. He's bound to have a crick in his neck, I expect. Goodness
yes,
Does he only do the one song?
Yes.
Oh, right. Well then.
Fortunately, it's only once a year that he comes out. So.
Oh dear. Well, maybe we can play the same song again later for the people who join us late. Could be an option.
Well, I don't know, Trace. We've got so much going on in this show this evening. We've got, as you said at the top of the show, we've got our wine guru, Robert de Koning. He's going to be joining us. Last visit of the year, of course, but he's going to be telling us what we should be drinking around the Christmas dinner table in 8 sleeps time, as you mentioned. Yes. We're also going to be giving away a bottle of bubbles from Robert. Ooh. So stay tuned for that. There'll be more details of that coming up later. And we're going to be talking about some Christmas movies. We want to know, what is your favourite Christmas movie? We have our favourites, but what are yours? We would love to know. And I'm sure over the next week, you're going to be settling down to watch a few of those leading up to Christmas time. Now, I remember last week, I started giving you some Christmas traditions from around the world.
I
And
remember. I
do you
was
rem-
there. Yes.
Do you remember the goat?
I remember.
Gavler goat in Sweden.
Yes, I recall the goat in Sweden. Yes.
Okay, well, I can tell you now that Gavler goat is alive and well, because we were worried that he might have got burnt down, because that's
Yes.
also a tradition. Bizarre. But no, he's still going, which is good. And we
Right.
talked about Krampus, but we didn't talk about Japan. Now, Japan, of course, it's not, Christmas isn't a big deal for them, okay? They have a few small, like, secular traditions, some gift giving and light displays and such like. But generally, it's more of a novelty in Japan. But they do have a new quirky tradition, which has emerged in recent years. It's a Christmas Day feast of the Colonel variety, shall we say?
Yes, I'm aware of
Kentucky
this
Fried
tradition.
Chicken.
Yes, they go to KFC on Christmas time. Yes, it's true.
Do you have a new... fair play. I mean, if you like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but you don't do Christmas, then go to Japan. Well, it seems a long way to go just for Kentucky Fried Chicken, but...
Quite a journey.
It's a rather expensive KFC, but you've been to Japan, haven't you, Tracy? Do you remember seeing many KFCs around?
To be honest with you, no, but that's also because we wouldn't have been looking for them, and I also don't eat KFC.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not, honestly, we would never be like, okay, there's a KFC down here. I'm sure they were there, probably down side streets or in main touristy areas, but honestly, we sort of tended to avoid those kinds of parts of town anyway. We like to go off the beaten track. But it's not a story that I haven't heard before. I have heard this about Japan, and the fact that indeed KFC is a place to be almost on Christmas Day, and you know, a whole process and thing that goes on. But yeah, there you go.
I wonder if they get dressed up like Colonel Sanders, maybe.
Well, I don't
Instead
know.
of Father Christmas, they've got Colonel Sanders running around with his big sack.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Iceland, and you have the Yule Lads. Now, in the 13 days leading up to Christmas, 13 troll-like characters come out to play in Iceland. The Yule Lads visit the children across the country over the 13 nights leading up to Christmas, and for each night, children place their best shoes by the window, and a different Yule lad visits, leaving gifts for nice girls and boys, and rotting potatoes for the naughty ones.
Good grief! There you go.
I mean, that's
It's
nasty.
funny it is, but it's funny how that sort of, naughty or nice list or stuff with Sinterklaas and Pete, it's the same kind of theory that applies all around, doesn't it really? Just in a different form or a different style.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Ooh,
Yeah.
gosh.
And all of these guys, they have names. I'll just give you a few of them, because they are supposed to be quite cheeky little trolls. So to give you an idea, you've got one called Spoon Licker, another called Stubby,
Right.
another called Door Slammer, Window Peeper, and here's the best one, Doorway Sniffer.
Right. I'm not quite sure what to follow that with, to be honest. Yeah.
I don't even know what that looks like. Somebody coming to your door and I mean, do they do the whole door, the frame? I don't know. Yeah. But so there you go. That's in Iceland.
Well, there you are. Well, cheers, Iceland. If anyone's watching, let us know. Have you ever been visited by one of these door-sniffing creatures? Ooh, are they tall? Are they small?
Well, they're supposed to be troll-like, so I'm assuming, they're sort of short and hairy.
I know, they might be tall. You never. They could be.
They might be tall and hairy. I mean, yes. I'm assuming hair figures largely with trolls, but that's probably just from the characteristic trolls that live under bridges, kind of legends and such like. So,
yes.
But so there you go. So I've got a couple more of those coming up throughout the programme. But I think probably what we should be looking at now is, well, as I said, we've only got just over a week to go. Have you got your Christmas presents yet? Well, maybe you're thinking about getting a book.
Well done. Very, very good. Good segue, dear.
Thank you. Because it's time for...
Book of the week, 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 book of the week. Book of the week.
Yay! It's book of the week.
I really need to work on a prop. Because I don't know if this table is secondhand, and I'm not sure it can take all the little book of the week bumps. So we'll see.
I think you need some maracas or a little rattler or something like that.
I think you're right. I am going to investigate, and maybe for next week's festive special, perhaps we'll have something to share.
Well, or maybe you should just stick with the sleigh bells for now.
I find they put me off.
They are loud.
I feel maybe I'll get my Bowron out or something. I'll give it some thought. Tell us about the book.
Okay, so of course this is coming to you from the English bookstore in Maastricht, and we have this week a children's picture book for this week's recommendation. It's called Knock Knock, and it's a silly rhyming getting ready for bed story, which is following an energetic little penguin and a very tired caregiver. It follows the form of knock-knock jokes, which are being told back and forth between the adult and the child as they prepare for bedtime, which is kind of sweet. It's told with simple graphic illustrations with primary colours, making it great for little readers. And it can be read by one person, since each in character and speaks in a different colour. You can have little ones that can take turns in reading, different parts. There's sort of like a mix and match thing going on. So none of the characters are gendered, apparently, in the story, which is a nice story for all types of families. And it is written and illustrated by a local author by the name of Kirsty Bohr, who actually works at the bookshop. She is normally giving us the recommendations every week, but she's at the bookstore every Thursday to Saturday, and she would be very happy to sign a personalised copy or give you a discount if you buy the matching colouring book with the story.
Ooh, very nice.
I think it's a great little book. Sounds really fun.
And
it'll make a nice gift.
Yeah, for sure. Very good.
That's from Kirsty Bohr. So that's at the English bookstore in Maastricht, and she is there, as I said, from Thursday to Saturday. So that's your book of the week.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
There you go. So lovely stuff. Okay, well, movies. I think we need to talk about movies. Have you been watching the Christmas movies this week, Tracy?
Well, there are a couple of Christmas movies on one of the Dutch TV channels. It seems that they're just kind of playing anything with the Christmas theme.
Yes.
Now, some of them, I must admit, they really are not the most gripping. So I tend to watch the first 10 minutes and think, oh God, no, I just can't. I can't. I did watch one in full last week, which was something called A Bad Mom's Christmas or something. And I stayed tuned because there were quite a number of high-level names in the film, like, Susan Sarandon was in it and Mila Kunis and people like this. I thought, well, that could be quite fun. But to be honest with you, I have a few kind of fixed movies that I tend to watch this time of year, and I've got them on DVD or I'll watch them on Netflix, but I haven't watched them yet. So that will be for next week. It's slightly too soon. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I have got in my possession the 60 best Christmas movies according to Esquire magazine. Now,
right.
I went through the first 10 and I was like, I've never heard of any of these at all. And some of these sound really quite bizarre. I've jumped to number 50 and I'm just going to scoot through a load of these very quickly and see what you've heard of, what you like the sound of. Number 50 is called Jack Frost, where apparently a man who is named after Jack Frost lives his life as a bitter aging rock star, meets a tragic end in a car accident on Christmas Day, And then a year later, his son plays a song on his old harmonica and brings him back to life, but as a grumpy snowman.
Indeed, I think did Michael Keaton star?
Yes.
Yes, it does. It does ring a distant sleigh bell, but I've never seen the movie.
It sounds terrible.
Mm.
Right, number 48, Batman Returns, Christmas movie.
Oh, you know, there's some people who think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so I guess.
Well, it is a Christmas movie, but we'll talk about that later. Number 43 is Love Actually.
Way down at 40.
Way down.
That's one of the movies I will be watching next week.
Well,
one of my top 5.
It seems to be one of those that they play every year, isn't it? You know, so yeah. There's one called Mixed Nuts at number 40 with Steve Martin. Just the fact that it's called Mixed Nuts, I'm not even going to bother reading what that one's about. You've got The Family Stone.
Yes. This is a very good movie. And this is also one on my list for next week.
Well, there is a huge ensemble cast in this.
Yes.
There's some very, very big names, including Sarah Jessica Parker and Diane Keaton. And yeah, it's basically family at Christmas. I mean, that and all the hell that brings.
Indeed, but it is a very heavy hitting movie actually. This one, it has it's kind of a theme that goes through it that's a little bit sad, but I really do. In general, I think it's quite a nice one to watch, and it's very, very Christmassy. That's for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Number 32, we've got Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, okay.
Now this is number 31 is I like this one actually. It's the Santa Claus. I remember when this first came out in 94. I thought it was quite a clever idea, actually, the Santa Claus, and yeah, I enjoy that when that comes on. So I'm okay with that one for sure. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
That's Jim Carrey, I think. Yeah, it's also ringing a bell. I may have seen it, but I don't recall if I liked it or not now.
Well, I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan. Well, I like him in dramatic roles, but not in comedic roles.
Oh, okay.
I find him too over the top. But that might work with the Grinch. But that's in at number 28. Now, here we go. Number 26, Die Hard.
Woohoo! Yay, John McClane.
Yeah, I mean, it is a Christmas movie. That's it. End of. I mean, it just is, isn't it? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, you need to watch it. It's set at Christmas. There's snow, there's trees, there's jingle bells. You know.
It's an unlikely Christmas movie, but it is. Gremlins at number 23.
Oh, Gremlins! Gosh.
Now, I remember when this came out, there was a big hoo-ha about showing it to kids because it is quite violent in some spots.
Well, it is, and if I recall, when the Gremlins, went bad, they were a little bit scary, actually. So
they were very scary.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mum in it who ends up putting a gremlin in a food mixer and another one in a microwave. I mean, it was quite nasty.
Well, that could be because, of course, little Gizmo was absolutely adorable. But when you got them wet after midnight and all this kind of stuff, or fed them after midnight and got them wet. I think those are I forget what the rules were, but they indeed was a bit of a scary one, that one.
19, Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh God,
I know.
Really odd.
Yes, I think that is odd. 18, Little Women. It's a lovely story. I wouldn't say it's overly Christmassy. Meet Me in St. Louis. Bit of Judy Garland. No, not doing it for you. Charlie Brown at Christmas.
Not that far up the list, anyway.
13, Elf.
Elf.
I have never seen Elf. Everybody raves about it, but I've never seen it.
It's the one with Will Ferrell in it. Yeah, it's actually, well, I'm not a particular fan of him, although he was brilliant in The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg, who I adore. But it actually wasn't bad, Elf. You could watch worse at Christmas.
Yeah. We got A Christmas Carol at 10. The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yay.
Bad Santa. Miracle on 34th Street, which I absolutely love. That one is a favourite of mine. Scrooged with Bill Murray. That's quite jolly. Home Alone.
Oh, I like it. Once a year.
White Christmas is at number 4. Number 3, 3, Christmas Story. I don't know this one. Number 2, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I've only seen the European one, but I'm sure the Christmas one is fun.
And this is a bit of a cliche if you ask me. Number 1, It's a Wonderful Life.
That is a cliche. This is a bad and terrible list.
I think it is.
Yes.
I think it is. But tell us, people, what do you think? Do you have a favourite Christmas movie? We would love to know. Now, coming up very shortly, we've got This Day in History, but we're going to whiz over now to the lovely Christina at Maastricht, and she's going to be telling us what's going on out and about in the city.
Hello, it's Christina from the Maastricht. I'm trying to make myself feel more Christmassy. I'm trying to help you feel more Christmassy. Luckily, the city of Maastricht has lots of things to get us into the Christmas spirit. Firstly, it's difficult not to notice the huge Marquis Maastricht in the middle of the Vrijthof Square. It's open every day from 10 till 5. Go along, have some mulled wine. It's a lovely Christmas market. Very pretty sparkly lights. Despite the current measures, our friends at Cultura Mose still have a full program of concerts happening, all finishing at 5. Mainly around the Lutherse Kerk and in town. There's a real variety of things, especially at the weekend. So we've got jazz bands, we've got brass ensembles, we have string quartets, and also you can come and hear me sing with my trio Verrassingskonzert, which is on Saturday at 12:30 at the Lutherse Kerk. We're doing a beautiful concert with the harp. It's going to be very Christmassy. Also, you can find on the Cultura Mose website, there's a thing called Street View. It starts around 4:30 till about, I think it's 7, 8 o'clock. So when everything is dark, around the city, there are installations, projections installations. I think it's something you could go around, have a wander, collect these different things to look at. We are so lucky with the weather at the moment. It's not too cold and it's not raining. While it's like this, I really recommend getting outside. And if you're like me, I'm really not very good with directions, but in the areas surrounding Limburg, there's some beautiful hilly walks, and they've made it very easy. There are all these little coloured posts in various colours, so all you have to do is follow the posts. That helps because I am certainly getting lost all the time, and you can make use of the milder weather and get some fresh air. This Saturday, if you're an expat with English-speaking children, at the English bookstore on the Frankenstraat, there's a Christmas event with Santa and his elves. You can come and have a picture with them, buy some English books for your friends. There'll be cake and, sorry to shamelessly plug, but I will also be singing there. But it should be a really lovely Christmassy event, particularly for expats, and a celebration of the English language. That's all. Enjoy trying to get into the Christmas mood, and I'll see you next time.
Yay! Thank you, lovely Christina. And as she says, her and the other lovely young ladies are going to be singing their way around the city. We'll have more about that later on in the show. But some good recommendations there. And she said about getting out for a walk. The weather's quite mild at the moment, so I think it's a good time to be going for a walk, Tracy.
I guess so, yeah. You can't see it. It was dry and bright today anyway. So
it was lovely here today, and it was just so nice. Even though I was in the car, it was nice just to get out and be in some sunshine. Lovely stuff.
Very nice.
Well, I think it's probably time that we slow things down a little bit. Maybe relax, put our feet up, have a glass of wine with Norm, because it is time for This Day in History.
Yes, it is.
Thanks, Norm.
Here. Norm was helping you out there.
He was there. It's the 16th of December today, 2021. Not long. Something else that it's not long till. It's only 5 days till the shortest day of the year.
That's true, indeed, yeah.
That's the bit I really like, because in 5 days' time, it's like, nearly spring. Love it.
Oh, well, sort of, yeah.
We're going in the right direction. On this day, in 1497, Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama, the first European to sail along Africa's east coast, names it Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Natal. Christmas. So, yeah, it's quite festive. I'm assuming he was naming it because of the time of the year, not because it was festooned with Christmas trees and presents and sleigh bells and reindeer. It must have been more to do with the time of year, I would think.
I would expect so.
I would think so. It's 1653 on this very day. The I'll try that again. The Parliamentarian General Governor Oliver Cromwell, appointed as Lord Protector of England and Scotland and Ireland. He's in charge, basically, for a little while anyway. 1773, the Boston Tea Party incident, which is basically the Sons of the Liberty protesters start throwing tea shipments into the Boston Harbour in protest against the British imposed Tea Act. I have to say, I think that's an awful waste of tea.
Yeah, indeed. It's a pity for the tea, but there you are.
Yeah, in 1824 on this day, the Great North Holland Canal opens. And in 1858, the Dutch government decides to vacate Scotland Island. Sounds like Scotland, but it's Scotland Island.
Scotland. Okay.
There you go. It's right up in the north, Tracy.
Right, gotcha.
It's a World Heritage Site, apparently.
Oh, who knew?
Who knew? Well, yeah. We know now, and so does the whole of Maastricht. In 1937, Theodore Cole and Ralph Rowe escape from the American federal prison Alcatraz in San Francisco. Neither is ever seen again.
Ooh, bum-ba-da-bum.
In 1946, Thailand joins the United Nations. And in 1950, the child star Shirley Temple announces her retirement from films at the age of 22.
Ah, okay. Well, she had started quite young, I expect.
She did start very young.
Yeah.
Very young. In 1966, Jimi Hendrix releases his first single, Hey Joe, in the UK. And in 1969, Hello Dolly with Barbara Streisand premieres. Love a bit of Babs. In 1969, the British House of Commons votes 343 to 185 to abolish the death penalty in the UK. And on this day, 1971, Don McLean releases his version of American Pie, which goes on for over 8 minutes.
It's a long song.
It's a long song.
Yeah, indeed.
In 1995, the official adoption of the name Euro comes into action. And in I got those run the wrong way. In 1991, the independence of the Republic of Kazakhstan comes into play.
Okay.
In 1997, on this very day, US President Bill Clinton named his Labrador Retriever Buddy. It was a slow news day.
There you go.
And finally, in 2019, Mariah Carey's single, All I Want for Christmas Is You, reaches number 1 25 years after its release.
Well, there you are.
I'm surprised about that because, I'm surprised it's been around as long as it has, because I didn't think it was that old. But I just kind of thought when it first came out, it just would have shot straight to number 1. But 25 years.
Took a while. That seems
it
like
did take a while.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you what we do have here. We have a very, very long list of birthdays, so I'm going to whiz through them as quickly as possible. On this day in 1485, Catherine of Aragon, the Spanish princess, first wife of Henry VIII. In 1770, Ludwig van Beethoven, the German composer, was born in Bonn. In 1775, Jane Austen, the English novelist of Pride and Prejudice, was born in Steventon in England. Another big hitter, 1899, Noel Coward, the English playwright and director and singer, was born in London. 1901, Margaret Mead, the American anthropologist. 1917, Arthur C. Clarke, the English sci-fi author. And finally, 1946, Benny Andersson, the Swedish pop composer and musician, 1/4 of ABBA, was born in Stockholm. There's some big names that have been born on this day.
Quite a lot of people, but December is a popular month.
It does seem to be a very good month. And a quick shout out to Natalie Martin from Mum and Dad, who say a happy 40th birthday. And our beloved Sam Wheely, who is one of our big fans of the show and contributors, of course. She's been been helping us out with the show ever since we started 4 years ago. It's her birthday today as well. So on behalf of myself and the rest of the team, we would like to wish Sam Wheely a happy birthday too.
Very nice. Happy birthday, Sam. And I'm going to also add one more as well.
Oh.
Because speaking of friends of the show and friends in general, this Saturday, of course, it's our beloved Matthew who will be having his birthday. So shout out to Matt, who I'm sure is watching from the United Kingdom this evening. Happy birthday, Matt, and hope you're doing well.
Yay, happy birthday, Matt. We missed you. Oh. And that was this day in history. Thank you all.
Gas clock. There we go.
Very nice. Ooh, but yes, there was some big names on the birthday list there.
Yes, quite a number indeed. So I guess, yeah, there you are.
Get born on the 16th of December and you're going to be famous. Top tip.
Okay, there you go. Scraping the barrel on that one, Joe.
I think I am a little bit, aren't I? I think I am. Maybe we should move on. We do have coming up in the second half of the show, of course, is Robert de Koning, who is not going to be scraping the bottle of the wine barrel, I can tell you that. But he is going to be giving us some top tips on what we should be drinking over Christmas.
Indeed. I hear there's some bubbles on the menu as well, so that's always exciting. So.
We do love some bubbles.
We
but
do.
in the meantime, I think we probably should have some news. What do you think, Tracy?
Let's go for it.
Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's December 16th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and it will stay dry, but remain cloudy on Friday and Saturday, with daytime temperatures of 10 degrees. Some rain is expected on Sunday, with highs of 8. Moving to your bulletin for tonight, and a roundup of local and domestic news. The current evening lockdown will remain in place in the Netherlands until at least January 14th, which means that all restaurants and non-essential shops need to continue to close at 5 p.m. Supermarkets may remain open until 8 p.m. Along with closing schools 1 week early, the request from government also came to limit the number of guests to 4 over the festive season. The Dutch royal family has expressed regret over the 18th birthday party held for Princess Amalia last Saturday. The party was held in the gardens behind the Huis ten Bosch Palace in The Hague. The family said 21 guests, all vaccinated and tested, attended the event, and a spokesperson has pushed back against reports suggesting that over 100 people were there. Judges in Amsterdam have ordered far-right Dutch politician Thierry Baudet to remove tweets in which he compares the current coronavirus regulations to the Holocaust. Mr. Baudet has also been asked to stop using photographs from the Holocaust to make his point. The court has told him to delete the posts within 48 hours or risk a daily fine of €25,000. The European Central Bank has announced plans to select a new design for the euro banknotes. Since the euro was launched at the start of 1999, the design has remained unchanged, and it's believed it's time to shake things up. While the launch date of the new notes is yet to be determined, it's hoped that the new designs will be ready by 2024. And anyone who wants to score a ticket for Pink Pop next year may be out of luck. All tickets for Friday and the full weekend are already sold out. Single tickets for Saturday and Sunday are still available, however, for €120 per day. Pink Pop is set to take place from the 17th to 19th June. And following a nail-biting and rather controversial final F1 race of the season, the Dutch driver Max Verstappen no longer has to fear that his world title is in danger. Max took the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi last Sunday for Red Bull Racing, under heavy protest from Mercedes, who also threatened to appeal the decision of the race director. However, it seems that Mercedes has since decided to waive their appeal. Verstappen is the first Dutch Formula One drivers' champion. Moving to local news, and the closure of Maastricht-Aachen Airport would appear to be the most favourable scenario for Limburg, at least according to the so-called social cost and benefit analysis commissioned by the province. It seems the benefits of the cargo flights landing in Maastricht mainly end up outside the province, with 20% of the cargo having a destination within 100 kilometres, while the rest goes much further afield. And a quick look at some stories from around the world. And in a first in Europe, Malta has approved the legalization of cannabis and its cultivation for personal use. Adults will be allowed to have up to 7 grams of cannabis and grow up to 4 plants at home under the new law. And Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has said he is sleeping soundly after becoming the first PM in 9 years to inhabit the official residence in central Tokyo, which is said to be haunted by ghosts. And finally tonight, a grandmother from Swansea in Wales has broken a festive world record for the largest collection of Christmas baubles. Sylvia Pope, fondly known as Nana Baubles, is the proud owner of 1,760 festive ornaments, a total recognised by Guinness World Records. Nana Baubles will turn 79 on Boxing Day and starts hanging the decorations in September to ensure her house is complete in time for Christmas. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, Maastricht.com. If a historical walking tour is more your thing, check out Meet Maastricht, the key to your city. And finally, don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on YouTube, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Nicely done now, Tracy. Well,
Thank you kindly.
I can tell you why Friday's tickets of Pink Pop have sold out, because it's Metallica.
Well, there you go. I mean, hello. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? So
It does.
I think I read that there's like 62 acts and apparently 57 are now confirmed or known.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Metallica is going to be a pretty big draw. I'm not sure who's closing the festival on the Sunday though. Is that known already?
Yes. So the headliners on Friday are Metallica, the headliners on Saturday are Pearl Jam, and the headliners on Sunday are Imagine Dragons. So, but I'm more, to be fair, on the Sunday, I'm more interested on who's just before Imagine Dragons, which is Queens of the Stone Age. I'm very excited about them. But yeah, there's a lot of good acts there next year. If it happens, we shall see.
Yeah. It's hard to know because I mean a lot of these tickets I believe were carrying over from the previous one that didn't happen. So let's see. I mean it's targeted for June. It's still 6 months away.
I'd hate to make a prediction because I've had my tickets for 2 years now. Yeah. So I really wouldn't know, but yeah. But anyway,
moving on.
let's focus on Christmas for the moment, and let's focus on what we're going to be drinking this Christmas, because rumour has it, there he is. He's already with us, the lovely Robert de Koning. Good evening, Robert.
Good evening, ladies. How are you doing?
We're doing very well. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, it's December month, so we're doing fine.
Well, yeah, we've only got just over a week to go. Are you organised for Christmas yet?
Very much. Well, Christmas itself? No, not at all yet. But, you know, it is kind of busy up to Christmas. But, yes, I start preparing my salmon, my cured salmon, gravlax on Sunday. So it will be ready for Christmas. So that's my first action towards our own celebration.
Yes.
Excellent. And was it a small family affair for you?
Well, we have to, won't we?
Yeah.
Because we can't visit anybody. We're already 4. So if you're going to visit somebody, it's always +4. So it's not going to work. So no, we're going to do it together, the 4 of us, real family time. So it's going to be a special year again. So yes, well, I think we have some wine, so it should be okay.
Yeah, you've got 1 or 2 bottles there, haven't you? So as soon as we start talking about Christmas and New Year, I would say our attention turns to bubbles.
Absolutely. It's we have a broad selection of different kinds of bubbles, from starting at, for a very small bottle, 4.95 up to, and the normal bottles 9.95 up to, say, for the champagne, not even that expensive, 35, 40 euros, and anything in between. So we do have some really nice own import of champagne, and we are the only people in the Netherlands who are selling it, and it's really, really good, and it's not overly expensive. So yes.
Oh, that sounds interesting. But of course, I mean, this time of year, I think people do tend to maybe splash out a little bit more when it comes to food and drink. So you're saying that, 35 euros is not too expensive, but I have a suspicion you probably could be spending a hell of a lot more than that. And are you actually getting a better bottle of bubbles?
Well, we actually have the best bubble we have is around 40 euros, but it's really good because the producer has his own grapes, which means that it's much more cheaper to make as in other houses. Because normally they buy their grapes and they spend about 9 euros a kilo, and you need 1.5 kilos, so already 13 euros lost on grapes. He doesn't have to do that, and he's actually a very good champagne producer. It doesn't have to be very expensive to be very good.
Excellent. And are there particular regions that you say actually produce better champagne than others? I mean, I know traditionally champagne is from Champagne, but...
Well, to be really honest, champagne can only be from Champagne.
Aha!
That's a quick answer. So yes, champagne may only be produced in the Champagne region. Otherwise, it's a Cremant or a Prosecco or just a sparkling wine. But if it says Champagne, it's from Champagne.
And that's actually legally.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Because it's protected.
Oh yes, they used to call it in the other parts of France champagnoise, but they're not allowed anymore because it resembles too much champagne. So really, champagne only comes from Champagne.
Well, I don't know about you, Tracy, but I'm not that bothered about champagne per se. I quite like a sparkling wine. Not necessarily Prosecco. I'm not talking about, because that Prosecco for me, I always think of sort of like a party drink. Prosecco. But if I'm going to start the evening off like a little aperitif or something, I quite like a sparkling wine. So what are we looking for in a sparkling wine, Robert?
Well, we're looking at a sparkling wine, which should be a Cremant, which is sparkling wine from France. Cremant de Bourgogne, which is from Burgundy, with a lot of Chardonnay in it. It's festive. It's not too heavy. It's lighter than champagne, but still has a really nice foam and a nice body to it, a lovely taste. And you spend probably half of the money you spend on the champagne, but it's just from a different region, but exactly made in the same way. So it's and it's a bit lighter. So it's really like a sparkling wine, just lighter than a champagne. Because some people think champagne is a bit too heavy.
I think that's the problem for me, actually.
So we have a nice Cremant de Bourgogne, but we also have a very nice Cremant de Loire, which are lighter, but still of a very good quality, still very nice. And you shall always see that the bubble is good. It's foam needs to be very good, but it doesn't have to be champagne. It can be a Cremant or a Blanc de Blanc or something like that, and it's it can be equally as good. Yeah.
Tracy, do you like to have some bubbles in the morning when you wake up on Christmas Day?
Oh, we tend to start stuff around 11, which is the tradition in our household. So it's gifts and then perhaps some bubbles or something else. But I do recognise what Robert is saying about the Cremant. I find this always a very nice option, and it's lighter, but also lighter on the pocket as well. So that's also welcome. But sometimes if you do get the opportunity to have a real proper champagne, it really is extra special. There's something about the colour, I think, and how it bubbles. And yeah, it's not something you might have all the time for your parties or whatever, but every now and again it is nice to do the real deal, I think. There's something little bit extra there, I think. But also a nice cave can be quite nice as well,
Yes.
right? I'm not hugely fan of the prosecco. I find it sometimes very sweet, and the bubbles die very, very quickly. But a cave or a cremant is always a nice option. Cave, cremant, champagne. It's the 3 C's.
Okay.
You can't go wrong.
But if you do splash out for Christmas on presents, a lot of money, why not spend a few euros more and have the real thing?
Yeah,
You know,
why
and
not?
That makes
really
sense.
nice. It's you have to treat yourself once and again.
So when we're sitting down to Christmas dinner, we want to have something else then. So traditionally, with a lot of families, there will be maybe a turkey for dinner. But then depending on where you come from, fish also is quite traditional in some of the Latin countries, especially. What sort of wine should we be looking at, Robert?
Well, if you're going for, if you're going for fish or you're going for the turkey for the main course, you can do really, really nice, full-bodied white wine. And again, here, it's Christmas. Why spend a few or a bit more than a few euros on a really good bottle of wine like Meursault or, Chachamorachet or a really nice, a nice Chardonnay, which just goes really well with turkey. So that's a really good thing, But you could also, we have really nice Clos Bellin, which is this one, which is slightly less expensive than the Meursault, but it's nicely full-bodied, unoaked, but some people don't like the oak taste, so then this one is a really good one. If you have a cold starter, why not take a Grüner Veltliner? It will always go with, it can always go with all cold starters. It's an easy wine to put in. It's not overly expensive, but it's really nice. But even though, have a Puy Fumé or a Puy Fissé for your Grey Flax, for example. That's what we do with Christmas, always our own Grey Flax. And that goes really well with a not too heavy wine. Keep it a bit fresh. That's really good. And then, of course, we're going for mains. It's turkey, or we like to go for the game. Yeah. Venison or hare or anything like that. And we especially like Burgundy wines. Yeah. So we have some really nice Burgundy wines in the house, or just normal Pinot Noir. Also, they can be a bit more expensive, but it is Christmas, so why not? And if you don't want to spend too much money, you could go, for example, for a Negro Amaro for your game, which is under 10 euros, but still a very nice bottle of wine, not too heavy on the tannins, and a lot of people will like it. But, there's Bordeaux, there's Burgundy, there's Barolo, if you go to Italy, all those fine wines. But we do have a lot of, less expensive alternatives to those expensive wines. So for everybody what wants. And, these days with Christmas, a lot of people leave the traditional meals for what they are, and they just buy a really nice magazine and cook the dishes from there. And so for every dish we will find the perfect wine, and for every budget, which is also really important. Yeah.
It is very important, absolutely, especially this time of year. And, especially considering the last 2 years that everybody's had to be making some adjustments. So I think the advice then to people who are planning to perhaps cook Christmas dinner next week, whether it's traditional or something, new age, would be to first choose your menu and then pick your wine. That's probably the easier way.
Always. Yes, I tend to, if for Christmas and I see a really nice bottle of wine, I might actually adjust the menu. But, that's me. That's, it goes with the job. But to be really honest, I pick my menu and then I look for the right wine with it. For every dish there is a bottle, which is, not a problem at all. And, it's Christmas. Yes, we have some difficult times, but we also should take time to celebrate with our families. I think that's the most important thing. And it doesn't matter if the wine's expensive or less expensive. It also, some people don't like those expensive wines because they can be complicated. So,
Absolutely. I think also something to maybe take into consideration. It's lovely to be able to have a different wine for each course, but not everybody's in a position to be able to do that. So is there sort of like a fail-safe grape that we should be going for that you can always rely on to get you through every single course?
Well, you got your starters and your main, so you should invest in 2 bottles at least.
Okay.
Go for a white for the starters. If you're with 4 people, and we're allowed to do 4 people, that's a glass a person. I mean, you should be able to do that.
Yes.
But then go, for example, with Christmas, when the dishes are a bit more, fuller because it's winter, just go for the Chardonnay, which is a really good grape. If it's fresher, go for the Sauvignon Blanc. A lot of people like Sauvignon Blanc, but a lot of people like Chardonnay. Play it safe. Chardonnay, which isn't too heavily oaked. Most people will like that, and with 4 people at your Christmas dinner, you probably know your people you're going to have dinner with, so that's going to be too difficult.
Yes.
And red wine, it's also, depending on, what your, I like Pinot Noir, but I also like a Bordeaux, but go for a Côte d'Iron.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
But don't spend €2 more and have a bit full of Côte d'Iron. It will fit with almost all meat dishes. So that's an easy one, because it's not too hot. Southern Rhone, that's perfect because it's not too hot, soft tannins, really nice, full and warm. It's winter, so it will work.
Fantastic. Top tips again from Robert.
Oh.
We can always rely on you, Robert, to steer us in the right direction when it comes to our drinking habits. That's for
It's
sure.
really important.
Excellent. So let's have a look at your schedule coming up over Christmas and New Year. If people want to get in wine for Christmas, when are you open up until?
We're open up till Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Yes.
So for any last minute shopping, people can pop into you on
Oh
Christmas
yes, they
Eve.
can. We will have the wine. Of course, if you go for the very special wines, it might that they run out on Christmas Eve. That happens because those are really, really busy days. But in principle, we'll just open all the way through. Very broad, spectrum of all wines to fit all dishes.
Excellent.
Don't be afraid. Come in. If you say, this is my budget, fine. We always ask, how much would you like to spend?
Yeah.
And if you say a certain figure and you have a certain dish, and we find that a less expensive wine will fit the dish better, we won't sell you the expensive wine. We will sell you the wine that fits. That's really important.
It is important. It is important.
Yeah.
Now,
We want you to come back.
that's exactly. You want them to come back after Christmas. So if they're going to come back after Christmas, when are you open?
27th
Okay.
till New Year's Eve.
Okay. So the party starts on New Year's Eve at your shop.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Come in at 5 o'clock and, well, we're open till 6, so not to worry.
Right.
We are essential.
Woohoo!
Oh, you definitely are, Robert.
Amen to that.
I totally agree with that for sure.
Absolutely.
So remind everybody where they can find you.
You can find us in the Rechtstraat, number 49, Wijn Winkel Wyck.
Excellent.
That's the one.
That is the one.
We still need to do a thing. One more thing.
We do need to do a thing. You're absolutely
Oh,
right.
we started off with talking about bubbles.
Yes.
And I think that we should at least enable one person or one family to enjoy the real thing. Don't you agree?
I think that sounds like a fantastic idea, Robert.
Exactly. So what we would like to do, we would like to give out a bottle of champagne.
Fantastic.
Ooh, how lovely.
However, you do need to answer a question. Yes. And for all, non-Dutch people, this is really important. We made it difficult this year. Yeah. So what do we Dutch celebrate on the 5th of December? I mean, it's difficult. I know it's a hard one, but you have to do something to earn this bottle of champagne. So what do we celebrate on the 5th of December?
Oh, Tracy, I'm a little bit stuck. I might have to look this one up. But for all of our listeners out there, that is the question that is being set by Robert de Koning from Wine Winkel Wyck for you to win a bottle of champagne. All you have to do is send us the answer either by messenger, on Facebook, or on Instagram. Send us the answer to that question. What do the Dutch celebrate on the 5th of December? and we will choose randomly a winner, and you will be able to go and collect this bottle of champagne on Saturday. So you've got 24 hours to get your answers in. We shall also post this after the show. So again, what do the Dutch celebrate on the 5th of December? Get posting your answers now, either by Messenger, Facebook, or Instagram, and we will pick a lucky winner.
I hope
Thank you
somebody
very
gets it
much,
right.
Robert.
I hope somebody gets it right.
Oh yeah, it is a tricky one for sure. As I said, I'm going to write this down to remind myself. 5th of December,
Yes.
because I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look it up.
Excellent. Well,
Thank you so much, Robert. Well, we wish you a fantastic Christmas.
thank you.
To you, Anouk, and the kids. Have a wonderful time. We're all going to be in our little caves,
Yes.
Zooming each other.
Excellent. Yeah, we could do an online wine tasting, something like that, which would be good. You know,
Oh,
Whatever,
I'm in.
it doesn't matter as long as it's fluid, so that's okay.
That's true. That is true.
Thanks so much for this year, and see you on the other side.
We'll see you
on
next
the
year.
other side.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks ever so much, Robert. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, bless him.
There we are.
Oh,
Now,
champagne. Not bad, eh?
very nice. That's a nice prize indeed. Yes.
It is. Right, well, oh my God, look at the time. We need to crack on, Tracy. We've still got the lovely Lucy. So let's have a look what Lucy's going to be talking about this week from Meet Maastricht.
Let's do it.
Hello, everybody. Your weekly dose of someplace in Maastricht and the stories connected with that. Because, of course, no matter what spot you talk about, there is always books and books full of stories to be told about the people who made that happen or used it or destroyed it or lived there. And so that's what history is about, really, all the time. The stories of the lives of people. I'm going to talk about the Bijaard. You may have heard the name. It is one of those hidden spaces in the city. You can't really see it when you are crisscrossing the city on the public roads that are used most of the time. They radiate out from the Vrijthof and the market to where the city gates used to be. And they're named after their destinations. So the Brussels Street goes to Brussels eventually. This goes for quite a few of them, and I suppose you realize that. And they are built up along the street, but very often immediately behind those built-up fronts, so to speak, there are large open areas, or at least there used to be for a long time. And there would be gardens, orchards. You'd have fruit trees and then pigs rooting around below there. And people would want grass to bleach their linens. And there'd be vegetable gardens and, workshops and storage spaces and all sorts of things. One of those large areas went by the name, still goes by the name of the Bijaard. Where that name came from is a bit contentious, so I won't go into that in my 5 minutes. But they're interesting stories in themselves. Why is it called the Bijaard? I suppose it had something to do with bells, but no. There was a nuns' convent there, a medieval convent, but that didn't survive the endless shelling of the French. So after the bombardment of 1794, it was so heavily damaged, they decided to abandon it. And of course, the French who conquered the city abolished anything and everything church anyway. So, they had to leave it on any account. About a century later, a new 19th century order of brothers, so people, males of the species, who have received some of the religious ordinations, but not necessarily the one to make them into priests. Brothers built their house there. The convent of the Bayard. The actual name of the brothers is a very different one. We did an entire podcast on that. Have a look. Lengthy story. To most of Maastricht, the Bayard means schools. It means education, because that's what the brothers did, at any rate for the boys. They founded schools everywhere around the old city. And most people who are now pensioners and who lived in Maastricht at the time have been educated by the brothers or by the 19th century orders of sisters who took care of educating the girls. Maastricht owes its solid foundation of being able to read and write to people like the brothers of the Bayard. There is, of course, by now, all their schools have been transferred to lay staff, and most of them are no longer in use as schools. The convent itself is also no longer a convent. It is a nursing home. It is for the very old and the very frail, but at least they can enjoy the remains of the old convent and the large garden surrounding it.
Oh, thank you, Lucy. Lovely stuff from Meet Maastricht. And if you do want to do any tours around the city at all, then do get in touch with them. They'll whiz you around the city. And Lucy, well, she's a magnificent mind. She's got so many historical facts in there, and they'll do bespoke tours and all sorts. Fabulous, fabulous. So we're towards the end of the show here, I think, our Trace.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up.
You got any titty bits for us?
Nothing really much. I think people are probably busy enough these days in the run up to Christmas, aren't they? So I'm not going to bombard them with too much tips and tricks for this week. Maybe just one quick mention, and these are actually our guests on the show next week. So the trio Verrassing have a little sort of menu of things that they're doing over the coming week or so. You can check it out online. They've got for example, this Saturday in Maastricht, they're performing at one of the local churches. They're also doing an event at the English bookstore where Kirsty is also on Saturday. Of course, they're with us next week. And they're also doing some performances at Chateau Neercan and Chateau Sint-Gerlach in the coming weekend of Christmas. So I would advise just to check out Verrassing's concert. We'll post their link and have a look for the exact dates and what's happening and the time. So that could be something a bit festive to consider for the coming weekends as we roll up to the end of the year.
Absolutely. And as Tracy said, they are going to be appearing next week on the last show of the year. And we're going to be getting extremely festive with Verrassing, because there's going to be lots of Christmas singing going on, which is going to be lovely. And before we leave this evening, I'm just going to let you know what happens in Norway over Christmas. It's one of the most unorthodox Christmas Eve traditions that can be found anywhere. It's where people hide their brooms. It's a tradition that dates back centuries to when people believed that witches and evil spirits came out on Christmas Eve looking for brooms to ride on. And to this day, people still hide their brooms in the safest place in their house to stop them from being stolen.
Makes sense to me. You never know, huh?
So I'm going to be hiding my broom. Thank you so much to Robert for joining us this evening. It was lovely to see him. As always, we'll be posting his details on our post-show post at the end of the show. And don't forget, you could be winning a bottle of champagne just by letting us know. Tell us, what do the Dutch celebrate on the 5th of December? Get those answers into us via Instagram, Messenger or Facebook. And we shall pick a lucky winner who can go and pick up that lovely bottle of bubbles for Christmas. Back next week. Have a lovely time this weekend. However you do it safely, of course. And we shall see you next Thursday for our final Christmas show of the year. We'll see you then. Have a lovely week. Take care now. Bye.
Bye.